Yama Obibiara aha enfambra ewiaber ebusia kase akan kase bo wo kasa efri ezifien main studio do blogono upper class school junction ewo ensem yezifia yazrosumu ende ewiaber insam no do so papa nemum zo safata dete ene yatutwe efri hene mpesua beye ahebie ni eduason esiamu ene yedresumu ende ewiabre ensam no za odumu akotin ebi onyene day Adam kuma wo man Ghana mbehye badwemu fie won bada no nyi waka sede aban onhwe na etwo bi ontum entetedo Ghana man panyin Yewura Yohane Dramani Mahama ono so aka ose gede afie yebesimu no ansana oye defense minister na afie so environment minister no wetum apa foforo The man so an attack Ghana one so what they are the Sadeka to a banning them on share na onion shamu and fund customs. You made the be all codo and our home. The man so ya concern from Musa Yewura and next Yakumi and Bashawa Jumini as a madisha kumu about to peshado. We see school then be our way see kama at the amadisha war and some no even me came one ya baba na masa boss mo de ewiaber ebusia kase akan kase po okin Kenya morsumu and ewiaber is in here jata kwabana the donor from jata koko school time was porcupine afeje bread na memfa ensamno nichiremu emom Baya embre kakrani ena odroman kuma owu odzenansa eto Ghana impeyinfo ebido da ni na ine de oye ewiemhyen bianka wokoketu no dwuma ewo Asante Mantomu na de impeyinfo titimu bi emwo hwe no nkwan yayo wo August bosom na da otodo esia wo afi apime bie na eduane enum yare mu ema Yewura oye Mutala Mohammed oye oswafo hwaman Ghana yene environment ho ena oswafo a ohwe ne bambo wonsam do oye Dr. Omane Boama ena asrafo ebinu akaka wono wo hwe wono nkwan yayo ema asembe ya ayoreka sepade mo man Ghana ewo manimo na the mensem no ena amanfo twene sre na basa work de o man pay Mahama wa acha dodo onye na onye minister obohye defense ene minister obohye ne environment no onfa emayen ono namdo emma ene the Ghana man pahin Yewura Yohane Dramani Mahama bakasa na ochem de winya botar won konkidi woni bronya won kadwenwa na won banya wabape New Year ni tomorrow ame moshane meyi defense minister and environment minister abua ema djuma wodinia no wetum akwakan.
They say Allah gives and Allah takes. He took two of our comrades and we haven't filled those positions yet. I can see people speculating he's going to appoint a new defense minister, a new environment minister. We're not in a hurry. I'll do those appointments next year after the holiday, the Christmas and the New Year will fill those positions. And so those speculating about somebody going to be appointed tomorrow and all that, I mean, just take your time, go and enjoy Christmas, and then after Christmas we will take a decision on those ones.
Enti man pahin Yewura Yohane Dramani Mahama na osanso kase biem na orichem de ehwe UK na Ghana ye wanyankofo bi ewo hopa da manyankofa no ono obomode no oli piem wa hye mu kenapa na bibia etuma akoy na kroye etuma ba ye hwe ewem sakraye na nasefo na ni nyina no omampai Mahama ebo no homozen da botum epia na odenda ne zeme biezi ewo dwumedi no ase.
The Second World War, we all believe that the best for this world was a multilateral global order where nations came together to discuss and find solutions to common challenges that face the world. And I believe that since that time, our globe has scored many successes, especially in recent times with the Millennium Development Goals, where millions and millions of people were pulled out of poverty by us deciding together to do common targeting. We We replace that with the Sustainable Development Goals, and in 2030 we shall account to find out how far we have gone with the SDGs. And so we believe that multilateralism is the best order for our world, especially when you face challenges like climate crisis. Climate crisis affects all parts of the world, and no one country can adapt or find any resolution to the climate crisis. And so the only way we can tackle the climate crisis is to tackle it multilaterally. And I want to congratulate the UK for its leadership when it comes to issues of climate change and climate resilience. Unfortunately, recent actions by some countries acting more in a unilateral manner than multilateral are threatening the multilateral global order. The invasion of Ukraine and other conflicts all over the world, the Gaza crisis and the deaths of more than 60,000 people in the Gaza, these are all things that don't belong to the 21st century. And I believe that unilateral action is not helping the global order. Aside from that, the upending of the rule-based trading system, where countries wake up in the morning and just impose tariffs on anybody else, I think that it is upending the rules-based trading system that we all have nurtured for years. And so at a time like this, it becomes a coalition of the willing. We must develop new partnerships that allow us to continue to work together, not as individual countries, but as coalitions of the willing.
Free Ghana Mampahin, Yohani Dramani Mahama Nason, Yanko Man Ghana, Ambreshe, Ebedromu Ifye. Na ewo ena emprempre menuka se dom kuma wo ho no namba da no nyim Yera Alexander Afanyo Makin ode nsam kokuru bi atugwa no ruchem dem yehwe abani a obasrepa dem oye etoa wodo a wasuegu amanfodo ewo manimu akwan murubu na chede won kwan no tete won amanfore brepa na wontumenka entino osra aban dem eto bi yada oh, what on my man for prayer when you will do that day, no, Mampahin and share na the me a tono on to and todo.
Should not generate any debate ordinarily. But the Speaker, where the government itself is not being consistent, same ought to be pointed out. The impression this bill seeks to create is that government is a listening government and the government wants to lessen the tax burden on the ordinary Ghanaian. So the Speaker, the reality is that just last week, the government came to this house with a 20% tax exemption amounting to $10.4 million granted to one entity, a foreign company. Mr. Speaker, their argument was that the previous government had a certain agreement and so they are only following through. But you said you are a reset government. You are resetting. So if indeed there was anything bad, cancel it. If it is bad, cancel it. Don't come here and claim that, oh, we are trying to do it better. Do what better? If that agreement, a GRA, was a bad agreement, I dare you to cancel it. Don't come to this house and further grant $10 million to that company if you say it is bad. Two, Mr. Speaker, this year alone, the ordinary Ghanaian who uses electricity has been burdened with a total of 18.4% in electricity tariffs alone. 18%. This is the total tariffs you've imposed on the ordinary Ghanaian. So you don't turn around and create the impression that oh, this is a COVID levy, the ordinary businessman was paying, so you are taking it away as if you care. You don't. This year alone, Mr. Speaker, whereas in 2018, the Akufo-Addo government, through PURC, announced a total tax tariff adjustment. In this case, it was a reduced tariff adjustment, ranging from 18 to 30%. Households enjoyed 18%, corporates enjoyed up to 30%. This was the status quo ante. When you came into office this year, you have increased electricity tariffs up to 18.4%. If you care about the ordinary Ghanaian, why did you impose the tariffs?
Yada ho wo oman Ghana embresha bedwemufie na facham ene dana oye aprosifu ejimoku no won ason ye wote nkratai kodani Ghana manpahin yewura Yohane Dramani Mahamadem oye IGP in metre police for on signing Owura Christian Yehonu Tete ono na edwumori ye no obeya anke onsansoma ni fihie bie nka wona chede nyame adman ka December ye busum ye yeboromia no nanka yewura oye police signing no Christian Yehonu Tete no nanka na edwumari be na ewie ya na sa nanso edo embehye bedwumofo no Ghana approach for Jumokunu mum, what the Krate Koma on my pay mamma the on trim. The men say muno and on my Ghana and Brashebit Mufe Binomuno, and one so watch and one adrin and what the men and some no.
By way of the Constitution has what it takes through the Council to extend, the years of the IGP. But for me, it's a worrying thing because there are many people also who are in line to go up. But if you keep one person out there, those who are also down there working so hard to get to the top would never get to the top. If you have somebody who has about 3 years to go on retirement and now you have 2 years, by the time it gets to that person, he will already be on retirement. This really do not augur well for the full and the commitment of people. You need people to work for something, and by way of doing that, when they work, knowing very well that tomorrow they can be recognized and be made IGP, but then you just cut it off because you have one person who probably will do your bidding. Well, I think it's for me, if you ask me, it's a solid state. He has, by way of the Constitution, has the mandate to do that. But there is a biblical fashion, I can say it in key, you are doing our crimes, you're not doing our fatal. So you can do everything, but not all things are worthy of doing.
Of course, if you look at the Police Service Act 2004, it gives mandate to the President to be able to extend the tenure of the IGP if he so wishes for 2 years, exactly what is done. President John Dramani Mahama is a president of all time who plays with the books or plays according to the rules of engagement of the Constitution and the laws that govern us. I don't believe that he will do anything outside the law. So everything he does is strictly according to the law. And so I don't see why anybody should make a fuss about it. To say that people are in line and are waiting together, I'm not sure this is the first time this extension of contract is happening. And so it's a normal thing. It's a vote of confidence in him by the President and the whole General Police Force. And so I think that we should do with it. He's come not too long ago. We realized that there were before he came, helping stabilize the situation. To just take him off and bring another person will change the course of the police service and its work. And so I believe that 2 more years for him to bring to bear what he can do as the IGP of the state, it's in place. And so I don't find a fault with it at all. And I think that Excellency has now went, and we should just commend him for whatever he did.
Yatwa and some no do yadamu wo on man Ghana Embreshe bedwemu fie wara na embreshe bedwemini zema de show otafo abatumpesiado onimnyafo Vincent eko asefwa ono enodabo tugwa no orichemu dem wo afi apime bien eduenu enum ena afi apime bien eduenu esiam budget worukotu go man Ghana embreshe bedwemu fie no abane ni shade wunde obama embesiamba sabi woye brana de wobuona nsa no ahunuje botuma kodo won abrabomu the means aban etreska pudo bi ato dem obohwe na oza to oye sanitary pad oze aboa de me embebu no na oye samtrofu nhyiemu ne dokodo ewo mbehye badwemu fie wo no owura eko asefua de tugwa na ochechemu dem sika pudo na aban edaba no oye sanitary pad ho no na nka oye ne de no ban wedru ono no dra odo kasa na ne kasemu no odo tugwa na ochechemu dem Oye 2026 economic and business policy budget abain edabano wodo bi eto sanitary pad ama mbebun da wetum wodi bi esesi won amunya konso etum akosuku no sikapudro Ghana cedis million no ahe bie na eduenu nkono 292 million Ghana cedis wodo to oye sanitary pad nkokoko park no nkokoko da ma million ko echipo ebasam 1.3 million and water no was abwa amembebu na okasa na ochem dem the me sanitary party sesi a wochema abanu eye ebukru bia no oye ne pad kru bia no 44 Ghana cedis na chede Ghana cedis no eduanan anan na sesi ano aban kru yare no so no oye dem na osa diskapudo ahe bien eduenu enkono million ahe bien eduenu enkono ena odo to the me pad no ena okasa na ochem dem abani kru ya de gbo no safo nyene dem oben wa batete pad dom na pad na wa batete do no krampo no sesi ano na nko 25 cedis kanano na nko 25 cedis nanso aban bayi wa aban 15 cedis into ye dan ye na sesi ano warrior budget na when the kurubia no 44 cedis wa abekọ wan was na sesi ano ekuru 15 cedis emene da oye nsam twofo nhyiema odin nsam ahodo odetugwa.
Because of the 2026 budget estimates and economic policy, I agree say we may use a number of days debating and then only June the show. The show says one of the things that I spoke about, no matter what the car wants to say, sanitary pads are a bad way of promising the people of Ghana say as part of menstrual hygiene. I'm not going to man so to me after school in me. I'm not sanitary pads. In the 2025 budget estimate, I'm going to show you say 292 million Ghana cedis, and I'm going to talk 1.3 million packs of pad at the Ghana for. Now, in the attempt to account to the people of Ghana, 2026 budget, I'm going to show you say 292 million Ghana cedis, the one of the top parts at the Ghana for. Now, almost account when we say in the year 2025, only distribute 6.6 million packets or if like packs of pad. No good time your crowd. So we divided 292 million by 6.6 million. Which figure has been repeated in the 2026 budget as far as Appendix 4A is concerned. We divided a number of 44 Ghana cedis. You say amount of you share. You mean you say, who got 2 years pad and 44 Ghana cedis. In fact, it doesn't lie in my mouth, said the Mecca. On one problem, a year parliament, like I said, they say we part a reduce and also so from 25 Ghana cedis to 15 Ghana cedis. Ah, no, they want more for me. So, a man manage a buying the national manage economy. When you have a publication now, one casa, I'm TV stations and radio TV. No, we want more for me. A year start, see, say, a 15 Ghana cedis, a year 25 Ghana cedis.
Abusia netu no eno sanso kiremu dem se yehwe nzamoro kodo na ehunu benya pa dem nhwem gbokodo ewo mu de minti ena wo bisa aban no dey aso aban no obede obosomo man Ghana anada obosoma amana no anapode oye twobom aban na che de esoma aida asoma afro bebi don kwotade na ade ne 15 since abafan baka to do 17 since that wa to twebom dem na opa che de aban no oyem enti yewura eko asefo aka say enodo to go etem dem opede hu aban ne menchechemu na o man God ye na yehu dem oba no obosom no ho ana obosom o man no ana na rosom amane amayoku no
No more knows the price of sanitary part or Yas sanitary part, which was 25 Ghana cedis, say there, and 15 Ghana cedis. And you should budget in one. You go for a figure for the year. Or one of the figures of the other day, and maybe my catch up was it. So figures now your budget in one. And you tune here. It's a same media for say we need to interrogate it. We must say a cheap one moon or new one. I don't know who I am no more get my Ghana for us to go on. I am no more self-serving government. And I'm more and now some more the Ghana for because we share budget in one. And it's very difficult to produce sustainable and permanent jobs that are being created for the people of Ghana. You don't see that. So for that, the Minister of Affairs said, big position over 490,000 people. We know you say you have to do a road contract more. About 90% of the people ever form. Hey, neighbors, you could do Juma. What that means is that our tenure of engagement, and you could terminate with that of the lifespan of the contract. Into a calling paper, as someone like a about times 3. If you want to also accommodate about 99 million. And so some people secretary 292 million Ghana cedis over the Pakoto sanitary part. So that's the way, so nature of the government, I don't know how best I can describe it.
Yem free and concrodio ma yen kopemu wa asante mantomu mbresha bedwamenye dem adesha wokumawu abatumpeshedo yewra NSYA enim ono enna sisiarade wetum ahwe na school den bia owo nimpeshedo wono school den tumde na ra ho no pa school den ohwe na nyimpa tumde akwe school den de ekoma dinacha ende yewra NSYA enim wa agba no mo adene pa wa renovate we say school no edama adehia wo nipeshedo wo emenije sam abahom na school yi ebeboa ma adesua tumagina branetum akoye pa abra yewura NS enim all the school no champagne nsa wa abra dwumedi bi krodo wo no oye nkwanta AME Zion Basic School wo kumowu abatum peshedo wo no odutugwa na ochem dem obasade obia fa na won na fomudi bia mboa na school no tum fa nta papa mfra na bibia entum koye no mboa so na school no unya be papa engina dachi
school edama kuma so na pese yesisi na mofra e so etinya be no musua de nyamnya dokne na ho odin ode boare enne yetimi ye school dai de ama oman no ami oji ni se musua peja e wo yam wota mo ha no the first step I am making no bigger things are on their way. I mean say sexual education will go to the next level. By basic level, JHS level, senior high level, interventions idea go at standards of education. Our district Moha. I will still call on Ghanaians and constituency addition. So I am money a binding point to me problems with brain and now okay appeal or any headmaster appeal or the Maya. We are still a long way ahead. You can toilet facilities are here for our basic schools. A big brain but we want any Arushimu say because we are bomb at the Mahon chair. You bet me I be brave at the Apeja sexual to my education. You don't want to media and so someone you bread and now you pray as here. You could for schools I would do any areas I would do all this to know how to put the Chima calling and say yes and Kanko, the sexual district Kanko, and you see you choose Shamuna, the encroachment is encroachment issue. It doesn't really pertain to Quanta High by across the country. Citizens are encroaching school Sasi. Now, maybe Atuma so say, the district Mohadi, dear Massa Insi. The BBI, the school, enough evidence says will be a bo error Massasimo. And what DBI will be the Bay Yajin Sassima school. daakye yɛpɛ sɛ yɛbie school mu ahe ne yɛde school no kɔ nti ne nyinaa ne sɛ yɛbɛ protect nsase a schools a ɛwɔ district mu ha nananom ɛde maa wɔ mo ɛyɛ sɛ yɛ protect even koraa no ne deɛ menim ne sɛ school hia asase de ayɛ biribi a ɔman no koraa gye free ankorakora nsɛm yɛde ama school de adi ne dwuma enti kakra ɔmo anya no yɛntena ɔnhwɛ ɛma obi mfa ɛno deɛ
na n'ekyir no na Kwame Obin Frimpong ono gyina mu edimas ozma secretary komewu educational center no ono ye kwanchefo panyin ono gyina mu de ma na ono so odna no edinsam odotugwa
yɛde aseda ama honorable Mr. Wani akwa ahodoɔ bebree so ɛna aboa nkonyasɛm sikasɛm nneɛma bebree ti deɛ ne abɛtɔ dwa wɔ ha yi yɛn nyinaa yɛ abansefo na agomasua yɛntumi nyɛ ɔman hyehyɛeɛ anaa ɔman mpuntuo ntumi wɔ so ɛberɛ a agomasua yɛbɛtoto ase nti education deɛ ɛdɛ ɔman ne mu mpanimfoɔ nyinaa ɛdɛ akoma so nti yɛfa mu die biara yɛyɛ ɛho bia ne sɛ ɛnɛ saa dwumadie yi yɛn nyinaa yɛgya deɛ yɛyɛ biara yɛaba sɛ yɛba betwa ahoma mu na yɛde ɛdɛ yɛde dwuma ma daakye mmɔfra a wɔkɔɛ mu ɛne ɔman mu ɔmo mpuntuo ɛnyɛ baabi ase nti education deɛ yɛsrɛ ɔman
incoming voice call from
biara obi wɔ ahoɔden a ɔde bɛtumi de aboa agomasua no ɛbɛyɛ nhyira ama ɔman no ne saa nipa no nti yɛfa mu deɛ biara no ebi so a yɛyɛ
na ebusunya n'echi kura no oye panyin kor a wofre no Honorable Opoku Emmanuel aka Teacher 80 ono eye abankrachi panyin edema nkwanta ono wode asdason kokroma yewura Ernest ya enim de wetuma babua wesese school den amon school den wo chema beye match busum ni munom na nsu bitaya opado mo yidu mo ndemasa se ho emende wetuma besese school den amon
me ya me dance me ya me no twetwe nkoma yefem Honorable Opoku Emmanuel the donor from Teacher 80 me dan contact mati mu bia electoral area ano ene at the fair moving on the 5th March 2025 atwenchem etu yen ensubran bi toy me dan ni aso pai ebu ni ebubui ni nya kamafo ni buafu bia ye dia ha okoto Honorable NS ya onim ekumo MP fa do kan ni be eden ebebe ye hwe ka wo bo ne dan ho a ni hwe ka ye ka nyira nse onyankopon enhyira no agide wo ye bia no onyankopon ma ni nsi ni yie ni se na nu nyam ebeba enu ti na wo se ye ni ye twa ye a ye bi sa ede no atonche me to ye no ana onyamfo NS ya wanim abeboa ye amasi se mofra no enya ba bi tuna omo bi hia de abo atitafo ni nya yo asamu America kire awfo ne enkura mi nyina na se ade fefa MP abeyama ye ni ye besre mofra no ngrange ye me nyina ni ye de enko ho na yamfa talk anase bidi anase ade bi ye de bese da no no wo kina bi obi angasa ade a MP be ma ne hwese ya ye de asa ase no ti awfo meso mo se omo kasa nkire omo ma so omo fie mu a so omo hedan ni yi mofra no nso omo ane omo ho wo kiman miso bi se da no ho a omo master man na si teacher di bia man se be da no be koso ayefe da ne da ya koso de na ase ama MP onyanfo NS ya wanim
ye free Asante Mantome na yambra oye enkran pumpuni mantemwa ha na oye tag fo na once what that says ato aban na enyim no wo chem dem enzema bi kokodo e wo Ghana Revenue Authority Customs for one ason ye wa na chode ye wonimpa bi ma wa importers fo no dwuma wodi no enimpa bi hyesumas bi wodi nsem bi a onsen fata de means obayanka aban no onbomodena ontra ni hyem no kudruwo na wonye nhwemu enfamfa de medmedin no nya da olboa e mo no dwuma wodi no otum okonenyim
of the Ashanti Region Task Force, identified as Prince Daniel Mensah Odai, also referred to as Prince, is implicated in a serious incident. This officer allegedly extorted 40,000 Ghana cedis from an importer who had roughly cleared 4 containers. The importer had already delivered 2
2 containers in Accra and was transporting remaining 2 to Kumasi. Officer Prince intercepted the containers en route to Kumasi, alleging undervaluation. Most Ghanaian importers are ignorant of the laws, and these officers are working within the thin lines of the laws to extort money from the unsuspected business people who do not know the law. The current NDC government recognizes this reality and is committed to addressing these problems to prevent a reoccurrence. When the business community is negatively impacted, it becomes exceptionally difficult for any government to maintain public support. Regrettably, this pattern is re-emerging. We are now in a period where the new government seeks to reset and realign systems previously plunged by dysfunction. Yet, certain individuals appear to be exploiting this transitional phase.
Ẹ̀mọ́ ayé yẹn kyerè wí, yẹn ti committee ni yẹn hwehwẹ́ mu. Sẹ́ ẹ̀nìyàmá aberanteɛ wei ti Kumasi a ɔredi no, ɛnyɛ adeɛ sɔ ani. Yɛsa aka sɛ yɛnyɛ comprehensive audit na nneɛma a wɔn ayɛ nyinaa sɛnsɛ yɛde wɔn kɔɔ hɔnom no yɛn nso so yɛn hwehwɛ mu na yɛsa aka kyerɛ sɛ nneɛma ebe yɛnyɛ deɛ ebi bɛda hɔ wɔn mu hwi a wɔn findings no so no wɔn publish na obiara hu sɛ yɛ asotwe ɛna yɛde bɛma wɔn a sɛ ebeyi wɔn adi nso afiri adwuma no mu a yɛnyi wɔn adi sɛ de bɛyɛ a wɔn nso ban bɔne no wɔn a yɛfa wɔn wɔ custom ɛnɛ wɔn nkosua.
Yewo ensam fufuru mu na eko aboso kan a amanfo ekeka de enyoma no do akofom ibisin zama nkofom na watch no se na abasa wakwaka ye mentemo asna ntawanta wo bim na oya aboso kan spare part dealers fo no won panyin ko ne nsam chofo akasa na odo to go achem dem oya no kwa eba aboso kan ya nzama bi bebre wo hwa endei watoto do ema wa abafom
60 to 70% above from spare parts, but these engines na yeka ho asem no a yi see sprinter ne sa 27 omo na akoyi issue kakra omo na yemi importers no e be share this week na you retailers am fa sa engines no be share say ho na yeka no kwa kire yen ebi mo say importers no mo nteso importers say da bi omo ba mateso e dia ma retailers no so ho na edi ntwe ho na yeka no kwen na afi bi hu bi ayi de nsem ba kosi but enye minister no directive ni per se but na yatete nyema no so a ba yes na ye penny more even though 60 to 70% we need more reduction so that say oba brand na 60 to 90% the stoppers above from pa ama me no kasa we ni adofo ni issue bi asisi a ye mo hu difference no say bono de mamu fa bono ko si obi sem e na se bi fitafo bi won so a ya teso ama countless no so ba na de dia to so no wagini receipt is already receipt mana ono woni de chen kotokom ebinom nti okwa na akotro the for the amount say no kwa enini ebi wo saa ebi wo so a obi hia obi yini no mo gyan kwa no ho no omo so badmana no omo so ba okay menye bi ama yenko anatra nko pe bi aba so ta se engine de open ko fa ba bobaka se yenko okwa obako negotiate fine ebi na o de fa bi adan atoso no it no factors in the doso and I can say you say policy rate 28 about 21 interest rate about form lending rate about form so that say by port one duty no car duty who stability or car I say if you duty no you expect no and yes and you know
enti ma etenenzi ayo owura kojo techi ono eye PRO edema Abosokan Spare Part Dealers Association. Yamfa kase bonu nkobie ewo epoye manto metre Eastern Region. Ye to Fred na ekupemu osuhuma. Ekosuma Islamic Girls Senior High School awo honom na wone headmistress edin sembia to go achem dem. We hia nyame bi ewo aban wo na eba ne oye wone nzama nkiti bia. Kane no oye ne headmistress na nka wansa no no baba no e na ohwe ema da medwumedi wotum esi na obe no we hu dey say wondo na ye pi ema other hall eba
oye me predecessor ni fa na o has head na okọ retirement ono osi bibi we fa na pavilion na mba me ba na esuafo no one dos we sa nti na wotum zizi wo ho na nda sisi ya abo 2000 nti ogwano pavilion no nipa ba 300 kuma na ohwa ayama nipa a wogina ho nti ye ntuma mfa pan bia na egwans went na ho nti mama kan na yezizi wo paado nti wane a osewiem nti satama so na ye ba bezizi na se nsuru ba abota na ode ye yemtam na wo betiti ko wo class na nsuru ta wo titi eziba na kwa class na wa kwa ekezi wo basapa woti na waza akoda mechi nti o ma mboa keka ho ya bre nti se ye na dining hall a ono obabo hen ye ba ya assembly wo hawa ya plan ya ma architect adre bibia ye behia den kofu baba ababo hen in terms of cash or kind na yezesi bi na chebe ye no mmamisafu wo ho ato
sukuru ko so de ye hu bibiri if you say you started with 7 students and 7 students in there 2500 until we share average lina ni akoye ne mpa ya bo hu modern papa teachers no and the community ni na omoboa student ni so bo hu modern we share in terms of academic performance fantastic omoboa hu modern pa until me amijira ho as member of the founding fathers no membia you who say ya be see school you say what started with some 7 now we do 2005 na ayonkunudi and we here aban so ni say ya started dining hall baby ankola no benye baby edidi ye nyina ye quality education na quality education na say baby akola no be didi enu ha quality education no amba nti ye be sra ban say ombo modian say obotu na ni ahwe na dining hall no ya to foundation no mbeboa na yentumi complete na ne aka no so no ye be tu samo ye ne be din samo so na yetumi aboa
enti Suhum Islamic Girls SHS na ete one enkanimpa uniform ho no na wone samtwafo kasa ya wode wona no edin sam wode tugwa aha ena embrana ba makwama mede ewiaber ebusua kase akan kase bono mezebesi amon asadan koma Big Family Multimedia Institute BFM Store Trustees Network Group Center for Trade and afeso ahoto AA Construction Works and one enobo mechidom mamede kase boy mezeba badano asane biso enkoma akosia adepa we na wota mechi one abna papa bi wotintim wo bom mamede nsame mede babadano okin Kenya meje egwatsna do mede bosomo idin amejeto aranyene Ejata Kobana. The donor from Ejata Koko school time was porcupine. Bema waina mo eniti mesanso mo hwa adeshi makra mo so ri ena edronie ena what's about bro.